Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Carl. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. New Skin family, it's great to see so many of you on the call. I think we're above 600 right now, and it's great to see you. As Adrian mentioned, my name's Mike Keller. I've been with the company for 28 years, and there we go. I think I got the screen right this time. I've been with the company for 28 years, and over that time, I've had the opportunity to interact with a lot of you throughout different events across the world. And it's really good to see you coming together for something like this. We're super excited about India. It's something that Andrew and I have been working on for some time now, and we're very excited to share with you some of the insights that have really played a key role in informing the go-to-market strategy that we've put together and the plans, the launch plans that we're now executing in preparation for the qualified entry in November. And I know we've got a limited amount of time here with you today. This is just a sneak peek into what we will be doing, but definitely more to come. And as we start to really ratchet down some specific plans in different areas, we'll continue to communicate that to all of you through our market and our regions and our management team. So with that, let's jump into this. India, we are, as I mentioned a moment ago, we're excited about this. We've been spending about half of our time in India since last year when we made the announcement in Abu Dhabi and Dubai during the 2024 team lead trip that we were moving forward formally. We've been there a lot. And so during that time, we've been working on all of the operational elements of launching a business. We've been meeting with local product manufacturers. We've been meeting with local legal counsel. We've been getting our entities set up. We've been working with a lot of different functional elements that go into launching a business in India. And what we found time and time again has been nothing but open arms and a warm welcome. People have told us, welcome to India. It's a great time to build a business in India, and we're excited to be your partner and help you be successful. On the same vein there, along with those welcoming comments, they all reinforce the importance of approaching India from a very strategic perspective. And the way that they talk about this is make sure that you realize that India is a marathon. It's not a sprint. The things you're going to learn as you enter the market are going to help you be successful, but you have to have an open mind because India is everything you think it is, and it's everything you think it isn't. And they've been interested in what we have to offer and the idea around our mission. We empower people to live better lives, to feel, look, and live better. That resonates with a lot of people that we've been working with. So let's jump into this today and talk a little bit about some of the market demographics that really get us excited when we think about the future in India. First, none of these data points here will probably be a very surprise to any of you. It's the most populous country in the world. But what's really interesting about this population is how it breaks down, how young that country is. 65% of the population is under 35 years old. Think about that for just a minute. In a country of 1.4, almost 1.5 billion people, 65% of those people are under 35. This is a great time in life when people are in the, transitioning maybe from some of their first jobs, second jobs out of university into looking at other opportunities. And so we find that in Nu Skin, we find that this age range is a real sweet spot for people who are joining Nu Skin. They're interested in looking at opportunities that are going to help them meet the demands that they have in their lives. So we're really excited about this. If you break this down a little bit further, you've got a median age of 28. Again, very, very young median age. And then if we look at the millennial and Gen Z, this is astounding. When you think about the population throughout the CPAC region, I think we're probably at about 640, 650 million people throughout the entire CPAC region. But you've got 910 million millennial and Gen Zs and 410 million millennials. So again, a very young, educated, tech-savvy population filled with ambition, looking for opportunity. And then we've heard this time and time again, and the data that we've done and the research that we've done have always gone back and really emphasized these data points and in terms of the importance that they will be to us. If we look at a little bit of the the middle class demographics. Right now, we've got about 300 to 350 million people in the middle class. That's expected to double in about 20 years. When we're talking about the middle class in India, it's a little bit different than in a lot of markets where Nu Skin operates today. We know that the middle class in India has a different earnings power, a different discretionary income level than what we might see in a lot of the markets in the West, and even many of the markets throughout Asia, North Asia, as well as Southeast Asia. The average income for people living in India in the middle class demographic ranges from about 6,000 USD per year all the way up to 35,000 USD. And that's obviously impacted and influenced by where they live. Are they in a larger metropolitan area? Are they in a tier two, tier three city? We just see that there's a wide spread there. But what that tells us, and what was also been teased out in the research that we've done, is that the Indian consumer is very value driven. They're very price aware of where they're spending their money, and they want to get the best value for the money that they're spending. So this tells us from a product perspective that we need to make sure we're getting the right products in the market at the right price. And we've done a few things that will help set us up for that. We'll talk about that when we dive into the products in just a second. Let's talk a little bit about how tech savvy and how connected people in India are. When we look at the population, we've got about 1 billion people who are accessing the internet via their mobile phones. It's very connected. And for those of you who've been to India, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say you're driving down the street. There are different food stalls, hawker stands, tea stands where people are transacting through their mobile phones. They're taking payments through mobile payments for a 15-cent cup of tea. But this is just really how they're doing this. And if we look further into how they're connecting when they're online, obviously communicating through instant messengers, right? WhatsApp is king over there. Facebook, Messenger, WeChat, they are communicating on their mobile phones, just like many of you, like all of us in the West, in Southeast Asia, and North Asia, they're no different. In terms of media and social media, we're looking at Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, from anything from media to social networks. You've got 75% of the population who's connected, also doing the same thing, same activities. 68% are doing social networks. So again, connecting to community, connecting to things that interest them most, and also communicating. If you go down the list, you'll see additionally how people are utilizing technology in their everyday lives. So this tells us from a technology perspective, we've got to get the technology right. We need the business to be such that it can be managed through a mobile phone to let people connect, sponsor, enroll, train, transact through their phones. And that's our goal with the technology we're going to be implementing in India. Let's look a little bit at the direct selling industry. It's a smaller industry in terms of overall growth in terms of overall size compared to many markets where we operate today. It's coming in about 3.4 billion US dollars, but it's growing at a good clip, 8.3% per year. And you've got 8.6 million active distributors in India. The breakdown here is a little bit different than what you'll see in many of the markets where we operate today in Nu Skin in terms of female-male ratio. It's one female for about every 3 males. But as we look at the emerging trends in India, we know that female entrepreneurship, females entering the workforce is a growing trend. Right now, India hovers right around about 30% of females in the workforce, which is one of the lower percentages when you look across the world. But we know that that's changing. We know many more females are entering the workforce and looking for opportunity. And so we believe the direct sales offers them an opportunity to build a business, to receive recognition for things that they're doing, and to also introduce it to other people around the world. Let's look at the overview here in terms of how the revenue breaks down. Wellness is king in terms of the direct sales channel. It dominates at 74% of the revenue. Beauty comes in at 11%. So these are both areas, obviously, where we play. There are core strengths, our core competencies. And we're actually really excited that wellness is such a strong play in India because we know we've got products that can impact people's lives and help them feel better and look better. And so with that, we know that this is a really exciting trend for us. And we'll talk about now how this goes into the products that we are developing for the market. Let's talk about some big wellness trends. These are some overarching data, obviously from a very 30,000-foot high level, but we know that these are trends that are there to stay. They've been growing coming out of COVID. We've seen them increase, but really 74% of Indians say supplements are essential. Some type of nutritional supplementation is an essential part of what they believe in being well and in terms of their overall approach to wellness. 63% of Indians are trying to lose weight. So this data point right here, for those of you, I love Indian food, but when I eat a lot of bread, a lot of naans, a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of rice, a lot of lentils. And so obviously in India, that's the dominant diet. And with that, there are a lot of Indians who are looking for ways to manage their weight. So enter TRME. We know that we can have a strong play in TRME. 69% of Indians also take supplements for immune support. So again, the awareness is growing. Going into COVID, it was a much more balanced uh, revenue breakdown between wellness and beauty. Coming out of COVID, wellness has just continued to grow and take more of that trend. So again, we're excited about where we can play in this area. If we look at beauty and personal care, the Indian beauty and personal care market is the fourth largest market in the world. It's a little bit different though than where we are in other markets. Up until this point, it's been really mass. So you've got a lot of mass type products that are out in the market. But they consume a lot. Hair care is an important part of India. We're seeing the typical Indian consumer becoming more and more aware of their approach to their daily skincare regimen and anti-aging and beauty products that they consume. They're looking more for active ingredients. They're becoming more aware of what active ingredients are good for their skin. And so that's a great trend that we see happening. The number one skincare claim in India is brightening. This is something that you see from a low price point all the way to a very premium price point. And what we're also seeing is a shifting from the Indian consumer from a more mass, more low price product range to a higher price premium product range. It's starting to happen. Again, people are becoming more aware of what they're consuming, what they're applying on their skin. We think all these trends are perfect for what we have to offer with Nu Skin. Let's talk a little bit about our Nu Skin portfolio hierarchy. So when we launch the market, we're going to be launching with a fairly focused and small portfolio, just like we've done in many of the markets where we've launched over the years. We plan to build that as time passes in the market and as the revenues justify building the portfolio. But this is going to be our approach in India. I mentioned a moment ago that in terms of the Indian consumer, price value driven decisions reign in terms of how people consume products. And so we want to make sure we get the right product in the market at the right price. The way we're going to do this is we're going to be manufacturing all of our products locally in India. The only products that will be imported to India will be our LumiSpa IO, our Galvanic, our Prism IO, our devices. So right now we don't have any plans to develop in India those products today, but everything else we're going to be manufacturing them locally. And as we look at that, we're looking probably at different products that are formulated locally to meet Indian consumer needs, utilizing a suite of ingredients that Indian consumers demand and are knowledgeable about. And we're going to start to see that in some of the products that we offer. But in terms of our overall approach, we're still going to take that premium line in India and ageLOC in terms of that's the product line that has our most high science, the most clinicals, the most active ingredients. This really represents the innovation and our commitment to research and development. We believe there's a market for that in India, and we're going to develop products that can help us penetrate that market. The price points will be a little bit different, though, than what we see in other markets. Again, the local manufacturing, local formulations, and also local packaging are going to help us achieve a lower price point. If we look at Nu Skin and Pharmanex, the other products that are not ageLOC, but Nu Skin and Pharmanex, we're calling that our prestige level of products. And in that, you're going to see, again, a similar approach. We're going to have a lot of active ingredients, really high quality products, but because we can manufacture them locally and package them differently, we're going to have different price points for the Indian consumer. Mastige, if you notice, I've got my Sarah new t-shirt on today. This is a brand that we're creating just for India at this point in time. This came about due to our research on how to penetrate the salon space. Through our research, we learned that many Indian consumers have this as a part of their daily, sorry, their weekly, bi-weekly, monthly habit. They go to the salon, the neighborhood salon, or they've got their favorite salon that they go to for their skincare needs and their hair care needs. And so as we were looking at this, we were asking ourselves, how can we penetrate this? Because this is a huge total addressable market. It's over $10 billion in India. And so as we looked at this, we were challenging ourselves to figure out what would be needed in order to be successful in this space. Well, enter CeraNu. CeraNu has been designed specifically to be used in salons, and it's being manufactured as a professional line and marketed as a professional line, but again, at a lower price point. It's not going to have as many active ingredients as our Nu Skin and Pharmanex, nor as ageLOC, but it'll still be filled with great products, great ingredients that the consumer is aware of. Below this, we've got Nu Skin Within Reach. Southeast Asia, you've really been played an instrumental role improving the viability of Sion. Sion is a great line and heavily utilized with a lot of sales in terms of units, total unit sales. And we believe that there's a market for this in India as well. So if we go to the next, we're going to now talk a little bit about Pharmanex here. This represents our initial foray into the market. We're going to be offering a Life Pack Core, a Marine Omega, protein meal replacement, as well as Slim S and MyEdge. Now you'll notice here on the right with TRMe, we don't have all of the products yet that you have in Southeast Asia and Pacific. We're working on formulas through regulatory issues on how these products need to be formulated. But we believe we're going to have a very strong opening from the beginning of November to really meet the needs that we've identified amongst consumers. LifePak Core is going to be different than LifePak or LifePak Nano that you currently have in your region. LifePak Core is going to be a lower price point product, really focused on core nutrition. This is also going to be formulated directly for the Indian consumer. As we've looked at the research, we've identified where the Indian consumer is primarily deficient in terms of vitamins and nutrients from their diet. And LifePak Core has been developed to address that. So it's going to have a different makeup than what it would have in other markets throughout the world. But we're really excited about all of these because they tie to Prism IO. We want to anchor all of the products in Prism IO in terms of SCS certified products. All these products will have a customized carotenoid formulation that will go into them that's unique just for India as well, utilizing several ingredients that are more Ayurvedic in terms of how Indian consumers view them. But this blend will go into each of the products that we offer in India. Now, as we look at Nu Skin, we talked about this just a moment ago. This, in terms of our approach with Nu Skin, this is going to represent our initial product portfolio launch for Nu Skin. We've got a vitamin C serum, a light moisturizer, an activating cleanser, a glow toner, and an SPF. 65% of Indian consumers utilize SPF on a daily basis. So for us, this is a no-brainer to include SPF into the overall offering. The vitamin C serum is a little bit different than what you've probably seen in the past from us. This is used for brightening. And also we're pairing the LumiSpa activating cleanser with the LumiSpa. So again, we're taking our time to establish ourselves at a premium price point with the device because it's imported, but then the local products will be a little bit more consumer friendly in terms of those price points. And then we talk a little bit about obviously the science, the pricing and positioning. I think I've already mentioned that. So we'll move on now to CeraNu. As I mentioned a moment ago, the segment that we're really focused on here is penetrating salons. We think that the target audience is really going to be salons and salon clientele. These products can easily be consumed just as easily be consumed at home as they can be in the salons. So we're not going to restrict purchases, but we think that this product portfolio here will really help us get a foot into salons. And so with this, we're looking at a galvanic spa. With the galvanic, you've got a brightening serum right here that's going to be paired with it, which again will be different than what you have in your home markets today with the pre-treatment and the treatment gels. Here in India, we're going to start with a brightening serum. We'll also have the LumiSpa cleanser, a version of it to pair with the LumiSpa device. And then we'll have a gel cream, a clay mask, a pH balanced toner, or you can pair that with a brightening toner. So again, playing off the brightening play and the brightening demand in the channel is really going to help set us up for this. Now, just a couple of quick thoughts about this. We have met with several salons over the last several months to really understand how they could utilize something like this. The research that we did early on indicated that salons were always looking for ways to increase their revenue streams, whether it be through new products that they're introducing to their clientele or how they're integrating new products into the services that they offer their clientele. And so this was met with a lot of interest, a lot of excitement, and we got some really good feedback on it, which we can talk about that more in the future. But as you get your hands on this in the future and experience it, again, this goes back to the idea that we're providing very quality products with key active ingredients at lower price points. With that being said, that's really the approach that we're taking. So as we look at all the data that we've been really diving into over the past 3.5, 4 years, and now taking that data and saying, what is the actual insight we're getting from that data? How does that impact or inform our go-to-market strategy and our go-to-market launch plans? This is just a high-level overview of what we're planning. We're going to be sharing more information as we near November 1. Obviously, we want to get this information out to you so you're confident in how you're talking about India and how you're sharing it with other people. But we're moving down that path. And what I want to reiterate again is we know we're going to learn a lot. As we go into India, there are going to be things that we get right. There are going to be things that we don't get right. But we're going to put ourselves in a position to pivot quickly, to learn from the things that don't go how we thought they would, and really be able to course correct very quickly. We also feel like we've got a very strong portfolio in play for the initial offering. And our plan there is to put together a product launch timeline over the first 3 years that are really going to play to our strengths as a company and tie back into the local trends, emerging trends that we're seeing. I'd like now to introduce Andrew, my colleague, who's been with me for the past 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I guess 5 years, because we started this during COVID. We got shut down during COVID, but I want him to come and really start to show the business insights that we've gleaned. So I'm really excited to have Andrew join us today. He's been with the company for 13 years, worked in a variety of really key roles, started in Nu Skin Europe, then moved to the States and has been with us for the last 10 years. And I've loved working with him for the last 5 years. He's got some very relevant insights on India, having originally been from India. And so his perspectives and the way that he looks at things have been super important and will continue to play a key role for us as we move into India. With that, Andrew, I'll turn the time over to you. And thank you all very much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing? I am so excited to be here with you today. I am just going to set up my slides, make sure that y'all can see them. Um, all right. Hopefully, you should be able to see my slides showing up. Yep, there we go. Awesome. All right. Okay. Like I said, I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about India, all things India. Love it. As Mike mentioned, this project has a special place in my heart. Being from India myself, growing up there, doing my undergrad there, spending the majority of my life in India. It's been really kind of a dream of mine to be able to help take Nu Skin's empowerment vision to India, and I can't think of a country that can benefit more from it. So, with that being said, let me walk you through what we've learned in terms of India, what it's going to take to do business there, what our compensation plan is going to look like, but also most importantly, what's in it for you, right? It's your partnership that kind of helps us grow in all of our markets today, and we expect the same from India as well. So, what's going to be different about India? You might have heard this saying, India is different or India is going to be different. There's a lot of things that we need to do differently, and that's true. I love India, but India can be maddeningly complex at times. There's just kind of ways you've got to learn to adapt. If you've lived there, if you've spent any amount of time there, you'll know what I mean. And direct selling in India is no different than that. In India, the direct selling rules and regulations really cater or favor Indians or Indian origin folks. What does that mean? So to be able to easily do business, to easily do direct selling business in India, you've got to be a Indian national, so someone who's in India, living in India, or you've got to be a non-resident Indian, so someone who has an Indian passport but is living outside of India today, someone who maybe is living abroad for work, staying with family, whatnot. Or you might be someone who we're calling or well, I guess there's an official term. It's the overseas citizen of India or a person of Indian origin, OCIs or PIOs. This could be someone who at one point in time had an Indian passport or Indian citizenship that they gave up to gain another country's citizenship, or their parents were Indian or their grandparents were Indian. These are kind of folks that really are really eligible and kind of easy to build a direct selling business in India. The fourth group, and I've put this there just to make sure I'm calling this out for people who are interested, is there technically is a way if you're not Indian or of Indian origin where you can go in and practice direct selling in India. I will warn you, it's going to be a very cumbersome process because as a foreigner, you could essentially go in, you could create your business entity. You'd have to apply for a bank account. You'd have to be okay with getting your commissions in India, paying taxes in India, making sure you have a business visa that's valid at all times because you would need that to direct sell in India. And I don't know if you've dealt with Indian bureaucracy, but it's not the most fun experience. So what we're recommending from a company point of view is that you can go and find these NRIs or OCIs or PIOs in the countries that they already are today outside of India, in countries that Newskin operates in, that can kind of help us go in. Because the alternative, while could be a way for you to go and build your own team in India, personally, it's going to take a lot of grit and resolve to get there. So that's kind of our recommendation. And then you might be looking at me saying, Andrew, okay, that's great, but I don't know that many Indians outside of India. Well, if you look at it quantitatively, India really has one of the biggest diasporas of Indians living outside of India or Indian origin folks living outside of India. What I've got here in this little pie chart just shows you how many Indians we've got in just some of our markets, right? Our biggest markets, granted, right? We've got close to 20 million Indians or Indian origin people living in these markets that I've highlighted: Southeast Asia, North America, West Europe. And these are all markets where Nu Skin already does business today. So rather than going through that hassle of having to go and create your business entity in India, the easier option, or I say the more fruitful option, is actually going to be thinking globally and building locally. And when we mean locally, we mean in your market today, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Thailand. And effectively, what that does is that's going to help you to create these first generation personally sponsored India eligible leaders. Now, why is that important? Now, I know everyone's awesome people. You've got the best of interests at heart, and you all believe in New Skin's empowerment vision. But I want to also talk about what's in it for you from a compensation monetary perspective. Because of India's direct selling regulations, like I mentioned earlier, and the complexities around that, the you can think of the line of sponsorship in India really kind of starting and ending in India. What that means is all of India's economic activity, the sales, they kind of need to reside within India. But this is where what I mentioned earlier in my prior slide about finding those Indian origin folks, the NRIs, the PIOs, the OCIs, is really going to come in handy for you as an international leader who might not be Indian or of Indian origin. Because what we're going to do is we're going to create this pool called the Global Growth Pool. And the Global Growth Pool is essentially a way for you as an international leader to get paid by your home market because you went and found someone who is of Indian origin and you helped and supported and mentored them in your home market to actually go and build a global business. And you're going to get a benefit out of that global business that would be approximate to the value of if you had got a lead bonus from India. What does that mean? Well, let's dig into that a little bit in more detail, right? Visually, I find visuals help explaining this scenario. So let's say you are a brand rep today in Singapore or Malaysia. This says UK. It could really mean any of Nu Skin's open markets today. So let's say you are a Singaporean brand rep today. And today you know someone who's also living in Singapore or Malaysia or Indonesia, and they're of Indian origin. What you would do is if you would sign them up personally on your first level, right? So you would know that, hey, this person is eligible to go and build in India. I'm going to teach them about the new skin business globally before we even enter India so they understand what new skin's all about. When they do that, and by the time we have our qualified entry in November, as long as this person that's from Singapore or Malaysia that's India eligible, as long as they become a brand rep, they will be able to go and create an Indian account in India. Now, this might be different than how you're used to building in our existing markets, right? Because if this person was a Singaporean account and they wanted to go and build a team in Indonesia, they don't need to create another account, right? They would just build their team with their Singapore account. This is where India is different because, like I mentioned, that Indian economic activity, line of sponsorship needs to start and end in India. And the way we're doing that is we're essentially saying this India eligible person that you brought in your home market, Singapore or Malaysia or Indonesia, or any of Nu Skin's open markets, they will essentially have two accounts. So this yellow person, same person, two different accounts. And they're parallel to each other because if you want to visualize it in terms of genealogy, they're parallel, but they're separate. They're distinct because this entire account that's Singaporean or Malaysian, that'll help them manage their global business. But this India account that they're creating, that is solely for building in India. In other words, the only people that are going to be in that tree are in other Indian accounts themselves. And this is kind of how you would picture it, how you would visualize it, is as this person has their India account, they're going into India, building and growing, they'll go and create a team that's going to grow and generate sales within India. Now, what does this mean for you, right? As the international person who brought this India eligible person in Singapore or Malaysia, well, this is really what's going to be key for you to foster and create to be able to benefit and participate in this global growth pool. Because as long as you have this person who has then gone and created an India leadership team, in other words, they've created this India account, and that India account has gone and done a ton of sales, generated sort of ton of sales. They've got certain titles, whatnot. We're still working on what the definition of that is, but essentially you can think of it as this Indian team has gone and started generating significant sales in India. What that's going to do for you as the international person over here is it's going to allow you to take part or be a part of the global growth pool, which essentially means that you, because by nature of finding this India eligible person in your home market, supporting and mentoring them so that they build a global business, including India, you will get a compensation benefit that is going to be an approximate value if you were able to get lead in India, because you cannot get lead in India because it's separate. But the global growth pool allows you through that support and mentorship in your home market. Now, I also want to call out that your scenario or your the reason for having this India leadership team is very important because not only do you get the benefit from what's happening from this India account in India, you actually get the benefit from all of your India paid relevant paid levels organizations as long as you have this personally sponsored India leadership team in India. And obviously, it's a personally sponsored India leadership team through an India eligible person because you yourself cannot sponsor in India. What does that mean by an unlock? Well, as long as you've got this person, this leadership team over here, let's say you've got someone on your second level who's not doing India, someone on your third level who's not doing India, you've got someone on your fourth level who is doing India, and they've gone and also built an India leadership team. Now, even though you didn't personally sponsor that particular group of people, the fact that you have this structure here is actually going to help you benefit from even those levels of sales provided you are able to reach that deep into your organization. In other words, does your title allow you to reach that deep, your international title? So I gave the example of the fourth and fifth level. So if you're a diamond or a blue diamond or an emerald, you'd be able to get paid on those as well. The calculation would occur that way. So that's what the global growth pool is. And I wanted to take a little bit more time there just to make sure that people understand that concept. Because if you understand that concept, the next couple of slides are really easy and they can go back really quick. Because I want to talk about the founder's promotion. The founder's promotion is the reason why you want to go in and start building in India already in the qualified entry period. Yes, you're going to get first mover advantage, but even more than that, it's such an amazing program and it's such an awesome incentive that we believe because we believe in the potential of India that you'd be kicking yourself if you missed out on this incentive. And let me tell you how simple it is. You might have heard our founders program from last year ago, which had more complicated rules. That was because at that point we weren't sure how we'd be able to pay or compensate international leaders. Now that we know that we can through the global growth pool, we're essentially getting rid of that old founders program and replacing it with this founders promotion. I've mentioned that this founders promotion is simple. And do you know why it's simple? It's because it's so easy to explain. You remember this global growth pool structure that I just showed you a few slides ago? As long as you have that, so in other words, if you're an international leader, as long as you're getting global growth pool, in that qualified entry period, if you're a Ruby Plus, you're going to get two times your payment. So essentially, between November and when we fully launch, every month that you're getting that global growth pool payment, if you're a Ruby Plus, it's going to be 2x that number. So if you're getting $1,000, you'd be getting $2,000 as long as you're a Ruby Plus. It's that simple. It's essentially a 2x payment. And you can be an India founder even as an India eligible person as well. We've talked about it from the perspective of this international person who is not Indian or Indian origin and how they would build in India. But technically, when this India eligible person goes in and creates their India account and they start building their team, they're going to start creating breakaways as well. So the minute they do, they become an India founder themselves. And in some ways, becoming an India founder and getting a benefit for it is actually easier because all you need to do is become a gold, and the founder's promotion is going to give you double lead. Think about that story. Think about how insane and how amazing that incentive is. If I'm a gold in India, and instead of getting 5% on my G1, I'm getting 10% on my G1. If I'm a lapis, it's 10% on my G1, 10% on my G2. If I was blue, it's 10% across 6 levels. And this is why you really should make sure that you're in there in that qualified entry period, driving energy, building the base, making sure that we're making India the next billion-dollar market for us. So with that context, I also want to talk a little bit about what's going to be the plan in India. It might not be as important for us today because the global growth pool and the founders promotion is what's driving us. But I think it's really important as we get closer to launch, as we start talking to people in India, what's in it for them, and how does the plan in India compare to the plans that you might be used to? And the reason I say the plans that you might be used to is because Mike mentioned I've done a bunch of different roles at New Skin. One of those roles was listening to our customer feedback and leader feedback. And without fail, every time we asked leaders, distributors, what is their main pain point with our commission plan, it would always be it's too complicated to explain. It's too hard to explain. It turns people off when I start talking about breaks and titles and SV and CV and all of those things, which is true. But that complexity has also been born because of our global nature. Now, here's where the benefit, I would say, of India being self-contained really allows us to simplify the plan. So with the India SPP, what's new? Well, because it's a self-contained market, which means there's no need for something like SV or CV because everything can be based off currency. We don't need to transfer points over or anything because everything is remaining within the market. So a currency-based plan means it's a lot simpler for you to explain the plan. All you need to say is you need to sell a certain number of products, or you build a team that's selling a certain amount of products, and that's it. It's that simple. You don't need to say, oh, if I sell this product, I'm going to get this much SV and this much CV to get paid commissions on it. It's all based off currency. Now, the flip side to it, though, with India being more rigorous with its direct selling regulations and rules, is becoming a brand affiliate is going to be a little more cumbersome than in some of our other markets. You'll require quite a few more licenses, some company mandated trainings, you'll need to give more information than you might have been used to or you might have in for your other markets, like your PAN card, which is your tax ID, your Aadhaar card, which is your identification. There's a lot of these things that kind of slow up the process a little bit. especially the license that you'll have to apply from the government, which could take 15 to 30 days. So what we're doing there is kind of creating this concept of almost a pre-brand affiliate, someone we're calling as a direct seller. And this direct seller group actually allows us to make the brand affiliate group even appetizing or even incentivizing, because what we're saying is as a direct seller, you would need to sell 10,000 rupees worth of products, about 120 US dollars worth of products to qualify as a brand affiliate. This is in addition to doing all those checks that I told you, right? Which is the license, the training, all of those things. And the rationale being really is that we truly want to make sure that the affiliate price is the truest, lowest price that you can get. In other words, where in most of our markets today, the member price or the preferred customer price and the affiliate price are at the same level, that's not going to be the case in India. The affiliate is the only one who gets the lowest possible price, and there's going to be different levels of prices above that to account for different customer types or the direct seller type. And then finally, we've also simplified the number of bonuses. When I say simplified, I don't want you to think that we're reducing our payout. We're actually, I would say, in some ways, increasing our payout because of how our first bonus is structured. But really, we're going from 4 or 5 bonuses down to 3. And I want to talk about how simple it is to explain these 3 bonuses. Because the very first bonus is just a straight selling bonus, right? We're calling it an L1 bonus here, but the name will be changed as we finalize our documentation. But the idea is that you could earn up to 25% as a pricing differential on all of your personal sales. It's as simple as saying, me as an affiliate or a direct seller, I buy products at a certain price. When I sell it to customers at a certain price, they're paying a price higher than what I can buy it as. So that entire difference, that just gets passed to me as an affiliate or as a direct seller. There's different price points depending on who's doing the buying and who's doing the selling, and that's why it says up to 25%. And we'll obviously get into more details on future calls as we have future discussions on this. But the simplicity of this is just L1 bonus means you go and sell products, you get a benefit for it. And the simplicity continues with the second bonus as well, which is the L2 bonus. Again, name TBD, but it describes what we're trying to do, which is as an affiliate, you will essentially get 10% off of all of the second level of sales. Think about it in terms of how you would explain it to someone, right? Someone who's brand new, who doesn't understand the comp plan or doesn't understand the company. You're essentially saying you go and sell products, and then you find other people who like selling products and sign them up. That's essentially 2 of your 3 bonuses right there. That's 2/3 of the plan right there. And that's how simple it is just to say it's all about selling that to that first level and then finding other sellers. Now, here's where we're trying to also loop in and simplify the plan is because we've introduced components of the building bonus that you might be familiar with today into this bonus. The reasoning being is we want to also, while we want people to find success at every level where they want to be, we also know that we're a leadership driven company. Brand reps are what drive our growth. So we want to make sure that there are folks who are interested who want to push through the funnel and that it's worthwhile for them to push through the funnel. And that's where this second level bonus as a brand rep will actually increase. So it's no longer 10% on your second level. You could actually earn 15, 20, 25% as long as you're a brand rep. And your qualifier would be your L1 sales. So your personal sales are still qualifying you to get the benefit of the second level of sales. So still, again, very, very concrete, very compact up until this point. If someone doesn't have an interest in being a brand rep, they could still earn really good income just with the L1 and L2 bonus. But I want to talk very briefly about the last level. And I mentioned earlier, right? We are a leadership company. That is what drives our growth. So we're not going to change our core. In India, we are actually going to say we have a lead bonus that pays 5% across 6 levels because that is the core of who we are. And we will be paying 5% across 6 levels. The only addition to India is, remember I talked about how we're also simplifying with the building bonus. We're also going to add another 5% on your G0. In other words, 5% on your circle group volume. So the lead bonus in India, if you think about it, is actually incremental than compared to even other lead bonuses because in addition to the 5% on your 6 levels, you're also getting 5% on your circle group. So that's the plan in a nutshell. Just 3 bonuses, simple, currency based, And I really like hearing feedback on this plan. In fact, I was on a call yesterday with one of our speakers who's coming up, Cam Algie, and we were just having this discussion, and I was hearing him just rattle off the India SPP. I didn't even realize that he'd spent, I don't know how much time he spent learning it, but it looked like he was a pro at it. So thank you, Cam, for not just leading from the front in terms of getting us to build India, but also taking the time to learn and also just simplify and understand how simple the plan is. So before I pass it over to our speakers, I want to talk really quick about our digital first approach. I've talked about our comp plan and how the strategy behind it, but enabling it is also going to be really crucial, right? Tactical execution is going to be key. And with our Infosys partnership, we've made sure that our focus is going to be on the fundamentals, getting ready for that qualified entry period. What do I mean by fundamentals? We need to have a website that works. That's just table stakes, right? A website where you can sign up, where you can search for products, where you can shop, you can subscribe, you can share products. Basics. And then because we'll have Prism in India, also the Prism app. And then because you need to manage your business, B&G, so that you understand your business data. So those are the three table stakes that we're going to say that we'll commit to making sure we have for that qualified entry. You'll notice I didn't mention Vera and Stella. We're doing our best to get those there by qualified entry, but if for whatever reason that takes up resources, we're making that commitment to say those resources should be going to the three table stakes that I mentioned before, and Vera and Stella will be a fast follow. So that's all I have to cover for with you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are as passionate as I am about the exciting opportunity that's India. And let's go and get it together. Looking forward to it.